So one of the reasons that Malaysia is such an interesting country and very successful is because when they had independence, or Merdeka, you did not see the same level of death and destruction as you did, for example, with India and Pakistan, where the partition cost at least 1 million lives into the separation of the two countries, along with Kashmir in between. In Malaysia, of course, you had, with relation to Singapore and the creation of Singapore from the Strait settlements, you did have some rioting involving the deaths of the Chinese population here, ethnic Chinese, but we're not talking about anything on the scale that you saw in a lot of other independence movements. So fast forward to today, and again, one of the reasons that Malaysia is so multi-ethnic is simply because they did not engage in the type of, sort of policies that destroyed the people that were here. And that's important because when you have independence, a lot of times you're dealing with integrating what used to be agricultural workers, typically in this part of the world, darker skinned agricultural workers, and you're trying to create a modern economy. And if you don't expel, like a lot of African countries did, the Egyptians, for example, expelled some of the Greeks, Greek-owned businesses when they had independence and so on and so forth, under, I believe it was Nasser. If you don't have that, then you're living in a multi-ethnic country, but it's not without tension because, the people here who have changed the country into a multi-ethnic country of more than just Malaysians are here because they were brought in by the former occupation forces, in this case the British Empire, who brought in the Sikhs to be police officers, who brought in the Chinese to be laborers, and of course who brought in the South Indians or the Tamils to be also manual laborers. And again, it's to its credit that Malaysia is multi-ethnic today. It tells you that you did not have chattel slavery, you did not have, again, the kind of religious and ethnic tensions on the same level as you did with other countries. We're still in California. And again, here's an example of multi-ethnic. You have somebody here. So, and he's Malaysian, of course. So we have Indians, Malays, and all of them are Malaysian. Very nice people here as well. And then I'm almost done with the video. Give me a couple of minutes. And so when you look at all this, the challenge now, in addition to elevating the formerly agricultural population of the farmers into a modern economy without resorting to something like affirmative action or policies that benefit here, what they call Bumi Putera, which guarantees, I believe, about 30% share ownership of the country. I'm not sure exactly how that ownership is evaluated, but the idea is post-independence we're going to flip the script. Formerly, the colonizing forces favored non-Malays, and now the federal constitution is going to favor ethnic Malays, who of course make up Malaysia. And one of the difficulties in addition to that integration is also trying to establish literature, trying to establish bridges of understanding. And one of the easiest ways of doing that, of course, is education, but you can't have education without having books and without having movies. And when you go to most bookstores, almost every book that you see is a translation from English into Malay, not the other way around. So if I'm trying to learn about the great Malaysian authors, I have no way of doing that, not easily. And I probably have to go to school here or take a course and learn the Malaysian language, or Malayu. And one of the other interesting issues is that a lot of times the owners who are translating these books are oftentimes not necessarily of the religion that the country favors. So, for example, Malaysia was established post-independence as an Islamic country with full rights and privileges given to other religions as well. But you'll notice that if you come to this bookstore, which is probably one of the largest bookstores in Kuala Lumpur, you've got something here that's Christian living, Christian family, and then next to religion, and all of this is Bible. You've got the Bible stories, you've got for children and so on and so forth. Then you move on to K-pop on this side. So if you're looking to change the country fundamentally, even though we're looking at 50 years post-Merdeka, it's going to be very difficult for the Malaysians and the people who want to comply, I suppose, with this idea of a country that respects fully Malaysians, as well as this idea of an Islamic country that was open to and respectful of all other religions, including the more secular provinces of Sarawak and Sabah. It's going to be, I think, almost impossible to do that without having a situation where you have a bookstore that's run by somebody who's able to compete with this kind of a format. And that's going to take time. I'm sure that if you're an American, you understand that Malcolm X was not very well known when he was alive, only after he was dead, that his speeches become popular and taught in schools. It's going to take some effort and time. And what I'm trying to do here is to show you just how far away we are from the ideals of the federal Malaysian Constitution, which, if you're an American, shouldn't surprise you, because we're also quite far away from the ideals of the American Constitution as defined by the Supreme Court and other courts in the country.